Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 review series, and today I am going to be talking about Episode 8, Zari, Not Zari. Now, as we saw at the end of Episode 7, we saw married couple Ray Palmer and Nora Dark leave the Wave Rider ready to start their new life together, which also signalled the end of Brandon Routh and Courtney Ford's time on the show, which in my opinion was quite sad because I felt their departure could have been handled a lot better, but what can you do? So this episode is the first time without Ray Palmer and Nora Dark on the show, so it's a little bit different, but not much. It's just business as usual for Legends of Tomorrow. But aside from all that, I thought this episode was pretty good. There are some funny little references to Supernatural, but sadly we don't see the two main guys from Supernatural appear on the show, even though I've been hearing rumours for many years that they could be making a cameo on one of the Arrowverse shows, but sadly we didn't get that here, but I still think it could happen one day, but time will tell. So we learn that Zari gets to meet her old self from the old timeline in a very interesting way, and I thought this episode was pretty good. I thought this was a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed this one. Did feel a little bit sad because I'm so used to seeing Ray Palmer there busting out some jokes and just being an all-round fun guy, so there was definitely something missing from this episode, but at the same time this was still pretty good in my opinion. So let's not waste any more time, let's get right into it. Let's talk about episode 8, Zari, Not Zari. So this episode opens up at a concert for the Smell, which is the band that Charlie was playing with when we first met her back in season 4. This takes place days after she left, where a mysterious woman enters the venue and slaughters a bunch of people and kills the band while looking for her. She reveals herself to be a fate. Meanwhile, on the Wave Rider, Zari wakes up in Nate's bed, surprising both of them. Gideon tells her that she must have sleepwalked into his room in the middle of the night. She leaves, bumping into Birad in the halls. He's working on repairing something that Zari had apparently messed up with in her sleep. After everyone gathers in the hallway to joke about Zari and Nate's situation, Gideon reveals to Charlie that her bandmates have been murdered. Constantine urges her to keep moving and beat her sisters to the loom, but Charlie is not having any of it and storms off. Without the rest of the team, Constantine uses the loom piece they have to divine where another piece might be, locating Vancouver on a map. Meanwhile, in Hell, the Fates, who killed her friends, Atropos, arrives in the soul minting area, revealing that the woman who has been manipulating Astra is Lachesis, the third Fate. Whilst Charlie and Sarah head to Vancouver to look for Constantine, Ava stays behind to help Mick with his daughter, deciding to repair their relationship by inserting Mick into key moments in his daughter's childhood growing up. On the Wave Rider, Zari is walking through the halls when she sees a cat. She follows it, confused, and finds Birad playing video games in Ray's old lab. She tells Birad that she thinks she's losing it, and he encourages her to try a fighting game to cope with her problems. She remembers some of her old memories as the old Zari and immediately becomes a superstar, beating Birad without even trying, as her old powers start to manifest itself. So what you're seeing in this episode is this Zari is slowly tapping into the memories of the old Zari before her, so she's starting to remember her old life. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, Constantine finds Baby the Impaler from Supernatural. While he and Sarah argue, Charlie starts to hear her sister's voice in her head. The jump ship is destroyed, leaving Charlie, Constantine and Sarah stranded. While the road team move towards the piece of the loom, Birad figures out more or less exactly what's happened to Zari, although he and Nate both mistakenly believe that Birad could have been a part of the team alongside Zari, calling themselves the Wonder Twins. We have a Wonder Twins reference, everybody. Maybe we might see the Wonder Twins, or maybe these two could be the new Wonder Twins. Who knows? Meanwhile, back in Vancouver, Charlie disappears after being telepathically attacked by her sister. We then go to the 1990s, where Mick and Ava pretend that they had been released from Iron Heights prison for supervised visitation with his daughter. Having constructed a crib, he met with her several times over the years, and becoming a real father to his daughter and bonding with Ava along the way. In Vancouver, Atropos confronts Charlie about humanity's shortcomings, demanding she bring her to the piece of the loom. Charlie, reverting to her child, almost takes her sister's hand before Sarah and John interrupt. Constantine manages to conjure a spell to distract Atropos so Charlie and Sarah can get away. He arrives at their side, saying that he faked his death and fooled Atropos, but at the creekside not far away, a bleeding Constantine lies motionless. Meanwhile, in the Wave Rider, Zari and Birad connect because she's insecure about not being as good as Zari the First. He encourages her to use psychotropic drugs to go into the totem and talk to their ancestors. While the team are away, make their way through the woods, Atropos listens in on their conversation. At his daughter's house in the present, Mick tries to present her with a photo album from all of their memories together, but she still thinks he abandoned her because she knows he got out of jail 5 years ago and always vanished right after the fun part of those memories. Ava encourages Mick to apologise to her. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, the rest of the team is feet away from the next piece of the loom when Ava returns to the Wave Rider and discovers that the jump ship isn't responding. Birad is walking Zari through, communing with the totem, while Ava tries to figure out what's going on. Inside the totem, Zari comes face to face with her old self. Zari 1.0 asks about Birad and their parents, and the two quickly get a cliff notes about each other's backstories. In the woods in Vancouver, members of the supernatural crew slain by Atropos start to rise up as zombies to attack the legends. Now this is where the two main guys of Supernatural should have appeared, really, even just for like 1 minute, just to blast these guys all away and then walk off, but missed opportunity there. After Atropos reveals herself and seemingly kills Sarah, the Wave Rider finally arrives. Stealing the latest piece of the loom from Charlie, Atropos uses it to sense that's the one on board the Wave Rider and goes to find it. While Zari is communing with herself, Ava and Nate are in the woods in Vancouver, where Birad has found himself facing off with Atropos, who demands to know where the second piece of the loom went. When he won't tell her, she divines it and he kills him in the scuffle that ensues when she takes it and he tries to kill her with one of the enchanted weapons. The legends have it taken from hell. Telling him that he doesn't belong there, she pulls a thread out of fate out of his chest and cuts it, and killing him instantly. Okay, very different to a way of killing people. Ordering the ship to take off, Sarah battles Atropos in the cargo bay, stabbing her with one of the Hell's weapons. It doesn't kill her, but Sarah orders Gideon to open the hangar while in the temporal zone. As Atropos clings to Sarah, Charlie cuts her sister's hands off, forcing both of her into the temporal zone and winning the rings that represent the loom. Inside of the totem, Zari says farewell to her old self and then wakes up to a tearful crew informing her of her brother Birad's death. Sobbing uncontrollably, Zari finally comes up with a plan. She goes to Constantine and tells him that he has to help her repair the loom so they can bring back her brother Birad back to life. And that wraps up episode 8. Very good episode. Quite a bit weird in some parts, but this was very good. Got some cool supernatural references, even though we didn't get to see the two main guys show up, but I'm still holding out hope for that we might see those guys show up one day. But this was a very good episode, and it sets up a very interesting story arc for how to bring Zari's brother back to life. But yeah, overall, very good episode. did miss Ray Palmer a little bit because, he's such a big part of the show and has been for many, many years, and he was sorely missed in this episode. And so was Nora Dark as well, so what can you do, really? It is what it is. So I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 8? Did you think it was good? Do you think Mick will become a better father to his daughter? How do you think the Legends are going to bring Birad back? Do you think the two guys from Supernatural should have made an appearance, especially as they were on the set of the show? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 9. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe.